Hello, I'm Dean Ritchie at Ritchie's Landscape Management, and I'm here to tell you about a project that my crew and I are doing down in Harrison, Arkansas for friends of ours, Roger and Patty Harness. They own they have a nice ranch here. They got a bed and breakfast, and last year we went ahead and we did some lighting for them in the spring. This spring we're coming down and we're doing some paver work for them, and it's basically broken up into two projects. We have the cottage garden, and then we have the outdoor kitchen. There's some interesting things that is going with this project that's kind of unique. One is this elm tree that's probably 80 to 100 years old. This thing's been here, we couldn't move it, but we needed to get a pathway to the garden shed into the garden. Unfortunately, we have roots to deal with, and some of those roots were taken out. And one thing we did to combat roots from coming back in, we used this soil separator fabric, which is a woven fabric that we typically use underneath all our patios and driveways and sidewalks. But before we put that fabric down, we applied Teflon or Snapshot, which is a root deterrent or pre-emergent to keep the roots from growing underneath here. Now, since we did that for the tree, not only did we cut its roots, and we're putting down chemicals to keep it from growing underneath here, we needed to do something for the tree. So what we're doing is we're going to do a drench method of campus staff, which is a hormonal steroid for the tree to increase root production. So we chop roots, we're going to encourage roots to grow. Another thing that we have to encounter is this shed is in a low spot. The garden is 6 inches higher than the shed, and the sidewalk here that comes down all aims towards the shed. And to combat the drainage, because drainage is our number one concern when we're doing a project like this, is that we ended up putting a slotted drain tile. You can kind of see the top of it. Slotted drain tile that's going to pick up all this water and then curve around and discharge into the prairie. When we paver this, we're going to use a permeable paver called Unilock Town Hall with perm chips. So that'll let the water drain through the pavers into the tile so it can get wicked away. Another thing is I'd like to point out is we are also installing we installed Fond du Lac snap steps, which are approximately 4 feet in length, 2 feet deep, and 6 to 7 inches tall. So they're kind of a challenge to set even because they're all non-uniform height. But when we're all done with this will be nice. It'll look really fancy. This stone also ties in with the stone on the house. So one of the things that we're doing for this cottage garden is we made this grand entry for the cottage, and we included 2 steps of that Wisconsin snap steps that are 48 inches wide. Now here, one of the foremen is getting ready to lay pavers. Keep in mind we have about 7 inches of 3/4 inch cleaning as our base stone on top of our soil reinforcement fabric, or soil separator fabric. Before we lay the pavers, we lay down our pipes, make sure our grades are taken care of, and we're using a high-performance bedding stone, which is double processed. We get this from Ozinga. This stuff is more uniform in size. It's still angular, so we still have that interlocking effect with this bedding course, but it spreads like butter. It's more expensive, but it's well worth the effort, or well worth the labor savings, because it's so easy to work with. So he's going to screed out 1 inch of that over this whole thing prior to laying pavers, and then after he's done screeding, he's ready to lay. So I'm here in the backyard over at the Harness project. This is the second part of this bigger project. Here we're doing an outdoor kitchen. We're redoing their outdoor kitchen. We're going to add some countertops, a place for their pizza oven, their Blackstone grill, and their smoker along the wall. We built these 2 old quarry, or excuse me, Unilock Brussels walls with the coping. We'll have coping lights in here. They they wanted things handicap accessible, so what we did off these stairs is we're going to take the pavers and form a ramp up to this single level outdoor kitchen area. And before, there was 3 or 4 levels plus steps. So we really eliminated a lot of that by just putting in the ramps and redoing the pavers. Once we get this all cleaned up, we'll have this as a bed around the walnut tree. And once again, we're going to use campus stat, which is a hormonal steroid for the tree to increase the vigor of the plant so that it doesn't die. Here you can see the bedding stone that we talked about. And this goes on top of the clean 8s or the 3/4 clean. And this is our fine-tuned stone. And then we lay the pavers right on top of that. So here we're going to lay this out. And then the next time you'll get to see us cutting that in and getting the outdoor kitchen laid out.